This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, and I'm going to give you a briefing of the UFO report that came out today from the US government. Part of it was still classified, but part of it went public. So I'm going to get into the main points. Most of this information is courtesy of NBC News. Basically, the report said the government can't explain 143 of the 104 UFO cases that have been reported by military planes between 2004 and 2021. This was all in the intelligence report released today by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, that really didn't shed too much light on what exactly these things are, but it was definitely a step in the right direction, admitting that there are objects in the sky that we don't know about. According to NBC News, there's literally dozens of mysterious flying objects spotted in the skies by military planes in the past few decades. And basically, the report concluded that there's not enough data to put all of them into a single category. The report does not specifically mention aliens or even hint at an extraterrestrial explanation. However, it does make clear that much of the phenomenon might be existing, that might exist could be from something that's beyond the means that the government has to identify such vehicles right now. One senior government official had told NBC that they have no clear indications that there's any non-terrestrial explanation for these UFOs. However, they will go wherever the data takes them. They do not have any data that indicates these unidentified aerial phenomenon are part of a foreign collection program, nor do they have any data that shows that there's any type of major technological advancement by a potential adversary such as Russia or China that would indicate that these vehicles could be from them. So in other words, they don't think it's from a foreign adversary. And while they're not saying it's from a non-terrestrial origin, they're not ruling it out. They do indicate that the UFOs represent a safety of flight issue and potential operational security issues for military pilots. Part of the report, as I previously mentioned, is still classified for national security reasons. The Department of Defense in the U.S. did establish an unidentified aerial phenomena task force last August to investigate and gain insight into the nature and origins of these craft. And earlier this year, the Pentagon declassified 3 previously leaked videos that were shot by Navy pilots from 2004 to 2015 that most of you have probably seen. They show mysterious objects flying at high speeds across the sky. The phenomenon observed in these videos that have already been released by the Pentagon officially remain unidentified. They don't know what they are. The reason the Pentagon officially released them, even though they were already out there, was to, quote, clear up any misconceptions by the public on whether or not the footage that has been circulating was real or whether there is more to the videos, end quote. So in other words, the Pentagon released those videos to show that they were real, and they were indeed taken by trained observers from the U.S. Navy. There was no new videos released on Friday. However, we do know from government officials that have talked about this, that have been privy to this information. The videos that have been released thus far are not the only videos of UFOs that the government has, nor are they the best videos. You don't necessarily want to tell the enemy what you have, and you have to consider this the enemy right now because they're in our airspace and not announcing themselves. So one of the reasons they might keep the clearer pictures classified or the clearer videos is so the potential enemy doesn't fully know what we know about them. According to the report, there were 18 incidents reported in which the unidentified aerial phenomenon that were seen featured some type of unusual movement pattern or flight characteristics, including propulsion or other technology that wasn't evidence and that could be advanced. 11 of the 18 reported instances with military planes were near misses. So 11 of these military plane instances that were reported involving military planes almost caused near misses with the planes themselves. Some of the unidentified aerial phenomenon were able to remain stationary in winds, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion. The report indicated in describing the incidents, in a small number of cases, military aircraft systems were able to process radio frequency energy associated with the UFO sightings. There was also a clustering of UFO observations regarding shape, size, and propulsion. The UFO sightings also tended to be around U.S. training and testing grounds. We do know that there appears to be various different kinds of these craft, and they definitely are interested in nuclear technology. From my personal research, we can't say that all the craft are necessarily from the same source. So for the people that like to say, let's hypothetically say it was aliens, well, they've been around forever. They haven't taken us over yet. It's nothing to worry about. How do we know that it's always the same ones visiting? We're always sending new radio waves and so forth out into the sky. How do we know that a new visitor isn't suddenly visiting us that has different intentions as the others? The only thing we know for sure is that these things appear to be observing us, and we don't know what they are. All videos of the incidents involving military that have so far been released, the government cannot explain, the report says. One senior U.S. official said today that, quote, "We quite frankly have a bit of work yet to do in order to truly assess and address the threat posed by unidentified aerial phenomenon. Not all unidentified aerial phenomenon are the same thing," end quote. There you go. It's not all necessarily the same thing. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence and the Pentagon are making efforts to create a new collection strategy to standardize data reporting on UFOs, according to the report. The Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby said the intelligence office has been ordered to develop a plan to formalize that mission. Lawmakers from both parties have demanded that the government do more to investigate this phenomenon. The United States must be able to understand and mitigate threats to our pilots. One official said whether they're from drones or weather balloons or adversary intelligence capabilities. Senator Mark Warner said of the Senate Intelligence Committee, he went on to say, quote, Today's rather inconclusive report only marks the beginning of efforts to understand and illuminate what is causing these risks to aviation in many areas around the country and the world, end quote. Senator Marco Rubio, who is the top Republican on the Senate Intelligence Committee, added, quote, "This report is an important step in cataloging these incidents, but it's just the first step," end quote. So in other words, this is a step in the right direction to figure out what this stuff is. The Defense Department and Intelligence Committee and community have a lot of work to do before we can actually understand whether these aerial threats present serious national security concern, Senator Rubio added. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Representative Adam Schiff said, quote, "We should approach these questions without preconceptions to encourage a thorough, systemized analysis of potential national security and flight safety risks posed by unidentified aerial phenomena, whether they are the result of foreign adversaries, whether they're atmospheric or other aerial phenomena, space debris, or something else entirely," end quote. So basically, the conclusion is we need to investigate this further. There's unusual stuff in our skies, and it's also going underwater, by the way. It's in our atmosphere, in outer space, and underwater. So we should figure out what these are, because this is not something to just ignore and hope it goes away and laugh at people that want to investigate this further. Polly Walnut says they've been around for years. The U.S. has known about them, from my research, since at least the 40s. But now there becomes a growing concern to figure out what they are. Lots of comments here. I'm not going to get into all of them. Yeah, says you can spend a year watching all the crazy stuff that's happening. If you research this stuff, the truth is definitely out there. AC says he doesn't think aliens would be so coy. We don't know what these things are, and we don't know what their intentions are, and we don't know, as I said a million times, not every country on Earth would have the same intentions visiting another planet. Some might have negative intentions. Some might just have investigative intentions. So we can't say if it is extraterrestrial that they're all going to have the same intentions. And then again, it might be another country that has leapfrogged us in technology and is spying on us. Is that really better? I don't know. Polar Bear says, of all the planets in the universe, if you think ours is the only one with life, think again. Strider says he wishes they would abduct Doug Ford. I do too. Bryce Boudreau says shoot him out of the sky. Well, there is a theory that when nuclear bombs have been set off in the sky in the past, that some of the energy from these nuclear bombs going off in the sky has actually had the ability to shut off and mess around with the electromagnetic fields around these alleged UFOs. So whether we could actually shoot them down from the sky, I really don't know. I don't know what the government fully knows about this. Obviously, they're not going to say it all for national security reasons. If they are adversarial, you can't just declassify all you know and have everyone know what we know about these things for our own protection. Biggs says they already said UFOs are real, but they're not aliens. Actually, they have not said they're not aliens. They said they're not discounting anything. They said they don't know what they are. That is exactly what the reports said. Sammy says it's either the US or extraterrestrial. No other country has the wherewithal. Good point. Stevie says he's seen a UFO at Area 51. I'm not sure about any of that. I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theories and so forth, but definitely we should figure out what these things are. We should not just ignore them. I would say this is very interesting because there's these objects with technology beyond any capabilities we know in our skies, very interested in our military operations, and we should figure out what they are and what they want. Rick, we're still on our first lockdown here in Ontario. It's brutal. Even Piper, my dog here, who just had a haircut, doesn't like the lockdown.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please